Bhavitana Ballabha Girivara Yashoda Nandana Vrajayana Yamuna Tira Jayam Vishnupat Paramahamsa Acharya Sarada Shishimad Sivai Grace Si Bhakti Vedanta Saivada Shilpad Ananda Kodi Vaishnava Vinda Jai Acharya Sarasthaki Jai Prem Jagat Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasura Bhaktavinda Ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kundan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Dham Ki Jai Radhakuni Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tarasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samavita Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Gauda Pramanandi. All glories to the Assembly Devotees. All glories to the Assembly Devotees. Glories to the Assembly Devotees. All glories to Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Tamam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tanayane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavari Pashatyadi Shatarine. So we continue with the most wonderful transcendental diary of Harisari Prabhu. So Srila Prabhupada is still in Vrindavan Dham, in Sri Vrindavan Dham. That being settled, Prabhupada took the opportunity to mention to Akshayananda Maharaj another management problem. One complaint is standing that with our life members and other subscribers, they always complain they are not getting paper. They are not getting book. That is the greatest problem. Akshayananda asserted that Back to Godhead is being sent out regularly, but that unfortunately many times the mail is stolen. He hasn't yet figured out a way around this. Prabhupada shook his head in disgust. He has had practical experience of the dishonesty of the postal workers. It is a fact, because there are so many nice pictures I have seen when I was printing my books in a daily press. So one peon was coming there to work part-time as compositor. So his mailbag he will put somewhere in the press, and he will begin composing. And all other compositors, what is that? Compositors? Yeah.
I never heard this word before.
Compositors. They'll check the mailbag. And if something is attractive, they will take. I have seen it. Our magazine is full of pictures. So naturally, as soon as they see the picture, they take it. Yes, that's the trouble, Akshayananda said. He told Srila Prabhupada of a system he is trying to introduce whereby he engages volunteers in different towns to receive a batch of magazines and then go out and deliver them by hand to our life members. Prabhupada pulled a face. He was skeptical. That is not possible. Even though Akshayananda said that the system works in the cities where he has implemented it, he also admitted that he doesn't have it in all the cities to which he sends magazines. Srila Prabhupada was not convinced. How is it possible? Some are living 10 miles from him. It is not possible. Prabhupada expressed his dissatisfaction with his countrymen and the current state of affairs. No, that is happening in India, not in other countries. In your country, the peons are very responsible. Here, they are never satisfied. This is a modern mentality. Nobody is satisfied with his income. He wants more money. And for that purpose, he can do anything rascal. I have seen it. This peon puts his bag without any responsibility. Letters are strewn, and maybe some letters stolen. Who can say? And he came to earn some money. For some time he'll compose and get some labor. And in Calcutta I have seen all the office peons, they are sleeping in Delhoist Square. The peon uses a book as the pillow for hours together. And after distributing, when they return to the office, it is going to be closed. And if they are asked explanation why you are so late, oh, he was not there. I had to wait 3 hours, and so on, so on, so on. Everyone is dishonest. Nobody is working honestly, especially in India, because they are poverty-stricken. If they can sleep 2 hours, he thinks that he has made some profit. Formerly, people were God conscious. They did not like to cheat, that God will be displeased. Now they don't believe in God, so they can do anything. The conversation closed with the arrival of some local gentlemen and Babaji's. Prabhupada was pleased to see them. They were responding to his invitation to help him fight the court case in America and spend some time discussing the details of the case and how they can lend their support. So, Srila Prabhupada is speaking about dishonesty. So this is a big lack. Kali Yuga, we are all decorated with these abominable qualities. Originally, a saintly person is decorated with other qualities. Like this famous verse of Kadama Muni. Kapil. Titikshava karunika surira sarve achata shatrava shantim sadava sadibhushana. Sadava sadibhushana. Bhushana means ornament, Schmuckstück. And Deutsch jetzt oder English? What is the condition? Huh? English? Sprecht ihr alle Englisch? Ja, ne? Könnt ihr gut verstehen? Ihr müsst euch dran gewöhnen hier. Ist gut, wenn man Englisch kann oder Englisch lernt. Hare Krishna. So this verse from Kapila Muni. He says that a saintly person, sadhu, is a saintly person. He's decorated with certain qualities. Tidikshavar, he is very tolerant. He can tolerate so many different conditions without complaining and like that. Karuna, he means very merciful, compassionate with other living entities. Karuna, Titikshava Karunika, Surida Sarvadehinam. He is a well-wishing friend, Suridam, of all living entities, not just his family or some friends or some intimate persons. Titikshava Karunika Surida Ajata Shatrava Shanti. Ajata Shatru, he doesn't accept any enemies. He's a friend of everybody. And honest. Honest. This is one of the very special qualities. He's very honest. Like we have this story of Yudhishthira Maharaj. He was known for his honesty. He was known for his honesty. Under all circumstances, he would not say anything that was not true. So when Krishna gave him an instruction, in the middle of the battlefield. They had very heavy enemies. like Bhishma and Dronacharya and similar big warriors on the other side. And so when they had the problem with Dronacharya, and Krishna gave the advice that the only way how to kill Dronacharya is that when we tell him that his son died on the battlefield. What was the name son? Ashwatthama. So then, but it was a lie because he had not died. So Krishna wanted him to tell a lie, declare that, or tell him that his son had died. And so when Yudhishthira got up and said, Ashwatthama, what was that again? What was that again? Special wording there. No. I don't remember. There's a word missing. Ashwatthama?
The elephant?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Because in order to help him, Bhishma went. He knew an elephant whose name was Ashwatthama. So he went and killed the elephant, so he could speak the truth. And then Yudhishthira got up and said, Ashwatthama, and when he tried to say the elephant, there was somebody blowing the conch out, because it was the end of the day or something like that. So nobody can hear Ashwatthama. No,
it's the
huh?
elephant.
Yeah, Ashwatthama the elephant. No, you couldn't hear the elephant. No? So then, and because of that, because he didn't follow exactly the instruction of Krishna, he had to see hell. Yeah, that's what it says in the Mahabharata. Yeah, so when they left finally, they gave up everything. And, at the end of their life, they went in northern direction. And somehow he had to see hell. See hell. Not that he went to hell. He was given this sight. Anyway, so truthfulness is one of the qualities of a saintly person. You can, in other words, you can trust him. You can trust that he's speaking the truth. He's not, manipulating the truth for his own convenience. Like I told you the other day, the story of the Brahmin, of the boy. Remember that? He said, well, he was supposed to find out who his father was, and he went home. And then his mother said, I don't remember, I don't know who's your father. So he came back, and his spiritual master immediately recognized him as a Brahmin. You're a Brahmin. Because it's very disgraceful. I mean, nowadays not so much anymore. But in Vedic society, you would say, I don't know who my father is, or my mother doesn't know who my father is. Extremely disgraceful. So Prabhupada also mentioned, yes, this is in India. In India. And he mentioned that, like, for example, we know our postman here. You have seen him? You know him? Yeah. Every day he comes and he's very friendly, very nice. No, isn't it? Is he nice? He got prasadam already? Yeah, good. You should get prasadam every day he comes. Yeah. Anyway, it's so important. This truthfulness is so important. Actually, it says that it's the last pillow. There are actually 4 pillows. Not pillow. Säulen. How do you say Säulen? Column. There's 4. There are 4. Yeah. Pillar. Yeah, that's it. There are 4 pillars. Of spiritual. Of civilized life or successful life. It says that these 4 pillars are symptoms of religion that is actually bona fide, that is authorized. Prabhupada used to say these are the pillars of Dharma. When Dharma is practiced as it is, and people are serious about it, then naturally these qualities become manifested. And truthfulness is one of them. No? What was that? Tapo shocham daya satyam. Tapo, no? Renunciation is one of them. Or this, how you say?
Austerity?
No. Yeah, austerity. Then tapo shocham, purity, or goodness. Cleanliness, right? Cleanliness. Tapo shocham daya, compassion with other living entities. And satyam means truth. And it says that in the beginning, in Satya Yuga, the 4 pillars were there. Then next Yuga there was only 3, then 2. And it says at the beginning of Kali Yuga there's still truthfulness. Actually, when you speak a lie in court or something like that, you're punished. Because it's not the standard. Just like in justice also, they try to find the truth, and they need witnesses who speak the truth, and the people, the accused also has to be truthful. And if they admit openly and they're humble and they're regretting it from their heart, then the penalty is not always the same. Just like for stealing, they have a special, how you say, mass, how you say it? A measure, a measured penalty.
Recommended.
Yeah, recommended penalty. Yeah, recommended. But it's always like a minor, how you say, less and the
Maximum.
And the maximum. Yeah, depending on the consciousness of the person. Anyway, so I don't want to expand it unnecessarily. So this is, here we don't have that problem. When we send out books, they normally get there, isn't it? Huh? Or they disappear also. I don't have experience here in Deutschland. But for example, in the places where I'm normally living, it's pretty common. That mail gets, or they look at it and try to find out what is in there. Yeah. Anyway, so, and that's why they have created all these courier services now. Like when you send something, for example, from Germany, by DHL or by UPS and all that, it's there's a big possibility that it gets there. Even though I have bad experience, I was in Buenos Aires once. We prepared the printing of the Bhagavad Gita. We had found the films of the Bhagavad Gita. It was a whole problem. I had to fly to America to get the films and all that. And then finally, so I put it together and gave it to, I remember the name of the courier service. And it didn't get to Spain, to the printer. It got lost. And the only thing I got back was the cost of the mail. How do you say that? Anyway, Hare Krishna. So we continue with the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we continue with a verse of Srimad Bhagavatam 5:5-7. Yada na pashyati ayata gunehang Svarte Pramatta Sahasa Vipaschit Gata Smriti Vindati Tatra Tapan Asadya Maitunyam Agaram Agya Yadana Pashyati Ayata Guneham Svarte Pramatta Sahasar Vipaschit Katasmitira Vindati Tatra Tapan Asadya Maitunyam Agaram Agya
Yadana pasyati ayata guneham.
Yadana pasyati ayata guneham
Svarte pramatta sahasa vipaschit. Vindati tatra tapan.
Katasmitira Vindati Tatra Tapan
Asadya maitunyam agaramagya.
Asadya Maitunyam Agaramagya Yadana Pasyati Ayata Guneham Sahasa Vipaschit Tasmitira Vindati Tatra Tapan Asadya Maitunyam Agaramagya. You ladies?
Yadana pasyati ayata guneham.
Yadana Pasyati Ayatha Guneham Svarte Pramatta Sahasa Vipaschit Gata Smitira Vindati Tatra Tapan Asadya Maitunyam Agaramagya Shati Ayatha Guneham Svarte Pramatta Sahasa Vipaschit Gata Smitira Vindati Tatra Tapan Asadya Maitunyam Agaramagya Yada when na not Pashyati cease Ayatha unnecessary Gunad iham endeavor to satisfy the senses Svaarthe in self-interest Pramata mad Sahasa very soon Vipaschit even one advanced in knowledge Katasmiti being forgetful Vindati gets Tatra there Tapan material miseries Asadya getting Maitunyam based on sexual intercourse Agaram a home Agya being foolish. Translation. Even though one may be very learned and wise, he is mad if he does not understand that the endeavor for sense gratification is a useless waste of time. Being forgetful of his own interest, he tries to be happy in the material world, centering his interests around his home, which is based on sexual intercourse, and which brings him all kinds of material miseries. In this way, one is no better than a foolish animal. Purport, Mr. Bhakti. In the lowest stage of devotional service, one is not an unalloyed devotee. Anyabilasita sunyam jnana karmaryanavritam. To be an unalloyed devotee, one must be freed from all material desires and untouched by fruitive activity and speculative knowledge. On the lower platform, one may sometimes be interested in philosophical speculation with a tinge of devotion. However, at that stage, one is still interested in sense gratification and is contaminated by the modes of material nature. The influence of Maya is so strong that even a person advanced in knowledge actually forgets that he is Krishna's eternal servant. Therefore, he remains satisfied in his householder life, which is centered around sexual intercourse. Conceding to a life of sex, he agrees to suffer all kinds of material miseries. Due to ignorance, one is thus bound by the chain of material laws. So this is pretty direct. So repeat the verse again. Yadana pashyati ayata guneham svardhe paramatta saha savit paschit katasmitira vindati tatra tapan asadya maitunyam agaramagya. Even though one may be very learned and wise, he is mad if he does not understand that the endeavor for sense gratification is a useless waste of time. Being forgetful of his own interest, he tries to be happy in the material world, centering his interests around his home, which is based on sexual intercourse and which brings him all kinds of material miseries. In this way, one is no better than a foolish animal. So we hear Prabhupada, I mentioned that before, that this part, this part is especially meant for sannyas. Different parts of the Bhagavatam, we find different, directed to different groups or varnas or ashrams like that. But Rishabdev was especially speaking about the importance of sannyas, understanding things as they are. And here we hear about the knot that is keeping us tied very, very strongly to the cycle of birth and death. And what is that? Actually, this is explained more directly or more detailed in the next verse, which is a very famous verse. Pungsa striya mituni bhava metam tayor mito hridaya granthi mahu ato griha kshetra sutapta vitair chanasya mohoyam aham mameti. The attraction between male and female is a basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine. Aham mameti. So it says here, the verse says, Pungsang striya mituni bhava metam. Pungsang refers to the man, striya to the lady, to the woman. And Stri, Prabhupada has explained what it means. It means expander. As soon as the man gets in touch with, becomes, so to say, entangled with a woman, then his existence expands. He needs a house, or an apartment. He needs money to maintain everything. Then the children appear, and also when one gets married, all of a sudden one has so many family members. not just from one's own side, but also from the other side, from the man. The man has a big family all of a sudden, from the part of the lady also. And the lady also has a big family on the other side. All the family members of the man, like that. So everything becomes complicated. He needs a griha, he needs a home, and a kshetra, he needs a place where he can put his home, piece of land, original in Vedic culture. They got a piece of land, and in this way, everything expands and expands and expands. And it's very difficult to give up. Just like in the former verse, it said that as long as there's a desire for sense gratification, one has to pay for it. One is entangled. And one loses the ability of understanding higher truth. That's a fact. Like Prabhupada said here, even though somebody might be very learned, he might have so many university degrees, but he's attached to sense gratification, he's a fool. Or like it says here, he's no better than an animal. He's a sophisticated animal. Like Prabhupada used to say, a polished animal. Polished animal. Like eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. In the human form of life, we're very proud of eating special things. Like here in Germany, you get food from all of from the rest of the planet. You get mangoes from Costa Rica. No, papayas from Costa Rica. You get this. You get what is it? Erdbeeren? Strawberries from Egypt in the middle of winter. And they think this is advancement. This is great. Our sense gratification. It's further expanded. We have so many possibilities to gratify our senses. And sex life also, you're not responsible for your sex life. You can take pills or whatever to avoid that you get a child, like that. And it's also very much emphasized. Sex life is always the center. To even sell, like I always mentioned, just to sell some Streichhölzer. What is Streichhölzer in English?
Matches.
Just to sell some matches, you have to put a lady there half naked to attract the attention. And what else? And also defending. So much money is given. It's becoming, especially in Kali Yuga, it becomes more and more difficult to live peacefully. In some countries that I visit, all the houses have electric wires on the fences because there's so much delinquency. And then what else? Sleeping, like it's mentioned I think it was the second canto, that for sleeping you don't need so much comfort. You don't need a cushion even. You can use your you can use your arm as a cushion and all that. Now we're proud. We have room for sleeping, room for that, room for that. We have so many curtains and towels and so much stuff. But that's not, Prabhupada used to say, this is just polished animal life. Of course, if you're intelligent and you're properly educated, then you can use all this in a favorable way. Just like we are also using so many things in our temple, in our spiritual life, we also we have learned how to connect everything with Krishna. That's the principle is that we accept everything favorable for devotional service and reject everything that's not favorable for devotional service. In this way we can actually use so many things. Like Srila Prabhupada, he taught us how to use everything properly. Money or whatever it is, we have to just be Krishna conscious and learn how to do it, how use these things properly in the service of Krishna. And that's why there's the Varnashrama system that helps us to become useful, connect everything that we do, all our tendencies that we might have, for a higher purpose. Use it in a way that we are gradually elevated and not become more and more entangled and falling to lower species of life. By following these principles of the Varnashrama Dharma, we become more and more qualified. We become advanced. We become advanced. We start seeing things as they are. Everything in relationship to Krishna. Also this, pungsang sriyami tunibhavamitam. This attraction between the sexes can also be dovetailed with devotional service. Prabhupada wanted our grihastas to not only be devotees in the temple but also at home. In which way, grihastas supposed to have their altar at home and get up early and chant properly and read the books and all that. Of course, the best thing is that they live close to a temple so they can take advantage of the temple, especially associating with the devotees. It's so important. Anyway, in this way, this very difficult situation that we are in, the difficult situation where we're born, we have come to we are in the material world. And it's undoubtedly very, very difficult to get disentangled in the material world. That's why there are so many rules and regulations, how to do things properly. I just heard a class with Prabhupada explaining that. We have to come to the platform of truthfulness, truth, where everything is a fact. Everything is properly handled, properly dealt with in relation to Krishna. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, this is Bhaktaram yakadavasam sarvaluka maheshwaram suidam sarvabhutanam gyatvam shantaviti. If we want to lead a peaceful life, we have to understand what Krishna says. And this is the last verse of the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Bhaktaram yakadavasam. That he should be the beneficiary of all our efforts, all our tapasya, and everything that we do. Krishna should be accepted as a supreme enjoyer. Everything should be done for his pleasure, not for our pleasure. Of course, it starts with, like Krishna also explained at the beginning, karma yoga, how to act properly, how to regulate ourselves in such a way that at least a part of what we achieve through our efforts should be given to Krishna. Like that Prabhupada sometimes mentioned the example that Rupa Goswami did. When he became a devotee and he was about to renounce everything and join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very, very rich. It says that he had a whole boat full of gold coins. And of course, gold, at that time there was real money, with real worth. Not like it wasn't subject to, inflation. Nowadays our money is, Baba used to joke about it, he said it's just paper. And any minute the government can devaluate it, or we lose. Just like they did now, and I read that in Russia the money is, completely devaluated now. Yeah. And even though it was so valuable before, it's now worthless practically. Anyway, so Krishna should be the supreme enjoyer. He should be accepted as a worshipper person. Bhaktaram yagyatapasam. Bhaktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Maha Ishvara. Maheshwaras, Maha Ishvara. The supreme proprietor, how I say, the owner or controller, supreme controller. And we should understand this more and more. As devotees, we should see everything in relation to Krishna. Things are not happening. Prabhupada mentioned, actually it says in the Bhagavatam, not even a blade of grass is moving without the will of the Lord. So Krishna is the supreme proprietor of all the different manifestations in the material world, all the planets. Sarva loka. Loka means planets, all planets. Krishna is the proprietor of all planets. And Sulidam Sarva Bhutanam. Sulidam, again the same word, Sulidam. He's a friend and well-wisher of everybody, of all the living entities. He's caring about everybody. No matter where one is situated, Krishna is caring. And Krishna is just waiting to give his mercy to these conditioned souls, even if they have become completely crazy under the influence and mode of ignorance. Krishna is patiently waiting, trying to encourage them to make the proper steps, do something good, like that. So Krishna is our only well-wishing friend, eternal friend. Like it's mentioned here. We form families, we have a wife, we have children, we have a husband, and we have so many family members. We consider them our friends, but they just accompany us for very limited time. Very limited time. Of course, when we completely in Maya, we consider this the greatest, or shelter and how you say quelle? How you say quelle? Anyway, of our satisfaction, of our pleasure. But Krishna is constantly accompanying us, life after life. He's always there as our well-wishing friend within the heart. Sarvasutaham ridi sanivishto smriti jnanam aphanam. Krishna is there in the form of the Paramatma in the heart. From him comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. And he's always there, waiting to help us, to do us good. But we always we don't want to hear of him. We feel, how you say, molestado.
Angry.
No.
Disturbed?
Yeah, disturbed. Anyway, so these verses are very important. Actually, this verse, Pungsa Srita Mitunibhama Itam, used to be a very popular verse amongst the devotees, especially brahmacharis. Nowadays, these verses are not so popular anymore. It explains very clearly what our situation is, what the dangers are that we are involved in, and how do we have to be very, very careful. Like Prabhupada used to say, Maya is very, very strong, and as soon as we are inattentive, we careless, immediately Maya enters and confuses us, and like that, we get more and more entangled. Instead of waking up from the slumber of material of the Maya, we get more and more involved in our dreaming condition. And these verses are important, so we understand, we see things as they are actually. And Rishabdev was teaching this to his sons. Where are parents nowadays who are teaching this? Clearly, their sons. Instead, they encourage their children to get married as soon as possible, and follow in the same steps as they had followed, since time immemorial. That's why they were so upset with Srila Prabhupada, because at the beginning, at least, people would just give up everything, stop all their efforts to establish themselves in the material society, and just surrender to Krishna. There's so many examples. For example, I was talking with somebody the other day, Ayurveda. Ayurveda. There were some devotees in the beginning. Every now and then you can hear this or read it in the conversation with Srila Prabhupada. A devotee would say, Prabhupada, I would like to go to India, study Ayurveda. And Prabhupada said, this is nonsense. You should just stay here and preach, distribute books. This is our important mission. And so many other examples also. In the beginning, we were all young, and we were all, Junggesellen. Wie sagt man das? We were all singles. And then after a while, more and more, the Grihastha ashram started manifesting. So it's very important that we understand what's said here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, what's the cause, and we should be very, very careful in our dealings. Because this opportunity to become Krishna conscious is a very rare opportunity. It's very, very special. First of all, that we have come to the point of having a human body. This is very, very rare. The human forms of body are very rare. There's so many more other forms. There's so many plants, so many insects, so many forms that are offered to the conditioned souls. And when one finally comes to the point of getting a human form of life, this is a golden opportunity to wake up and untie ourselves. No, actually not we, but Krishna. The knot that keeps us bound to the cycle of birth and death. And even though Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, amongst thousands of men, maybe there's one person sufficient intelligent who understands this golden opportunity. And it's not, and it's also temporary. As soon as we give up this body, normally we have no idea where we're going. There's no guarantee. Only if you become Krishna conscious, there's an opportunity to actually get special facilities after this life. Even up to the point of going to the heavenly planets, it says. It's so glorious. When one starts devotional service, it's so glorious. Like Krishna says, if one didn't comply with the whole process, one might go to the heavenly planets first, or one might take birth in a family where there's good facilities for carrying your life, like a rich family or some aristocratic family, or Brahmin family like that. And very rarely, you take a birth in the family of Vaishnavas. Family of Vaishnavas, from the very beginning, you're exposed to devotional service and to transcendental sound vibration, hearing the chanting of the holy names and all this. This is very, very rare. And this opportunity is very easily lost. That's why we have to understand all these things. Why we have to understand what the danger is, what our real position is, and where we should increase, and where we should start to diminish things. Not making plans for our comfort, but actually making plans for Krishna's comfort. Not trying to solve problems on the material platform, but rather surrender to Krishna. Krishna is promising us that if we surrender, that He'll take care. And if one is completely absorbed, Krishna says somebody who's serious in spiritual life, and he's absorbed in devotional service and serving Krishna with love, Krishna maintains the person. He gives him everything that he needs, everything he needs. And in an inconceivable way, things appear. One doesn't have to make any great arrangements. The solution is more surrender. Become more Krishna conscious. That's the solution to all our problems. Everything else is just, what was the example that Prabhupada gave? Anyway, I don't remember now. Just like Prabhupada gave an example also, he said, just like zeros. A zero means nothing. You might have so many zeros. You can have 1,000,000 zeros, it's still zero. It's null. But when you put a number before the zero, all of a sudden all the zeros become valuable. And the same way, unless there's Krishna in the center, all our successes on the material platform are just useless. If we are intelligent enough and we know how to connect everything with Krishna, then our life is successful. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time. It's just a waste of time. Better a short life, intense in Krishna consciousness, than a long life in ignorance. No? What's the use of living for thousands or millions of years if you're not Krishna conscious? It's just a waste of time. No. But if you add Krishna, if you put a 1 or a number before the zeros, all these zeros become valuable. Just like maybe somebody is rich, but his richness is just, how you say, pulling him down. He's becoming more and more entangled, more and more ignorant. That's why there was Prabhupada mentioned that there's 4 kind of benedictions that a saintly person gave. He told Brahmachari that he should die quickly. How you say? Yeah, he should die quickly. Because his life is so austere, and after he practices all the austerities, he will get the benefit. Then a rich person, like a princess. No, what is it? Prince, like a prince. No, it doesn't matter. No?
Never die.
Never die. No? Because now you're enjoying, and as soon as you die, you have to suffer reactions and go to hell. What else was it?
The butcher.
The butcher, yes. His life, the benediction was, his life is hell, right? And after his life is also hell. He's always engaged in so many abominable activities, and when he dies, also he gets all the reactions of his sinful activities. Even though we have experienced that. Sometimes when we had distributed books, even we sometimes entered into the butcher shop and offered the books to the butcher. And they also bought the books. They also benefit by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Anyway, what's the last one?
The saintly person.
Yeah, a saintly person. It doesn't matter if he lives or doesn't, or he lives or dies. He is always in a very nice condition. Anyway, so these are different benedictions given by a saintly person. So we are in a position right now that we should be very eager for benedictions. We should try to get the benediction, the well wishes of the devotees, of the spiritual master, of the saintly persons, of Krishna. And in this age, it's in other ages it was very difficult, but in this age, this is the only benediction. As I was explaining that Sunday, that this Hare Krishna mantra, the Sankirtan, is so powerful. All the Vedic mantras, the potency of the Vedic mantras is within the chanting of Hare Krishna. That's why it's called Maha Mantra, because it contains all the power, all the potencies of all the other mantras. Yeah. Oh, I was just hearing there's also Prabhupada mentioned that even when in every step of yoga there should be mantras. Prabhupada says, there's no quiet meditation. There should always be mantra. Mantra is the most important when you practice yoga, Prabhupada says, to be successful. Anyway, just on the side. So this Krishna consciousness is so nice. And not only that, it can also be practiced by everybody, by anybody. Even the poorest person, even the most less educated person can take up devotional service, the chanting of the holy name, and become benefited. And we've seen this, we've seen this. And we have seen very surprising results sometimes. In the beginning, sometimes bhaktas or bhaktins, they seem to be a little off, pretty off. And as soon as they start chanting Hare Krishna, they live with the devotees. Or we have seen so many surprising things, like especially also with Sankirtan. Sometimes our devotees are not very, centered, how you say?
Minded maybe.
Huh?
Centered, or you could also maybe say just sober-minded.
Yeah, sober mind or centered, kind of. Yeah. And they go out and preach or distribute books, and there's surprising results and surprising changes happen in their life. So this process of the chanting of the holy name and devotional service is very, very powerful. That's a real solution to our problems. So we have to develop faith in this process. We have to increase our faith. And the whole process is meant for that, especially hearing and chanting, to increase our faith, our strength, our determination in devotional service. That's why you were explaining that the other day in your class, that everyone should read Bhagavatam every day. Make it a regulated principle that we sit down and read. On the side of the classes. Classes are there, and we're very, very fortunate here in classes, reading the Bhagavatam together. But every devotee should also take time or find time, sitting down and give attention to the Srimad Bhagavatam or to the books of Srila Prabhupada. This is the basis. Prabhupada said, the books are the basis. This should be the basis of our movement, basis of our lives, basis of all our plans. Should be reading the books, Srimad Bhagavatam especially. It says in the beginning of the Bhagavatam that this Bhagavatam is like the light. How you say light?
Yeah, it's like this, like bright as the sun, brilliant as the sun.
Yeah, brilliant as the sun. It's dark. Kali Yuga is a very dark age. And it says that from the Bhagavatam, the light. What is that again? The bright. Brilliant as the sun. Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, you mentioned about the zero sum, just having this in mind. So zero remains zero.
Mm-hmm.
So but when we put a 1 in front of the zero, it becomes value. So somebody that is in Maya, and he gets into Krishna consciousness, how can he make his life be more valuable? How can he put more value in his life?
You're showing us how to do it. You put the 1 in front of the zeros. You're already making your first steps in the right direction. And you should be properly guided. Very important. We are making so many efforts that people come to the temple. That people come and visit us and I say, watch how it is practiced, what the books say. And it's very unfortunate when people come and nobody cares for them. Nobody shows them. Nobody explains things to them. In former ages, I would say, a new bhakta came, there was somebody in charge taking care of the bhaktas. And he would be with them all the time and show them properly things, explain things. Not that they had to speculate. Not that they sit in the morning there and their japas on the floor and nobody says anything. Like this morning. There should be somebody taking care. This is the cosecha. What is that?
The most important thing.
No. The ante. What is the ante in English? Ante. Harvest. This is a harvest of all the difficulties we accept in preaching. The harvest is that finally somebody comes and takes interest and comes to the temple. Like the farmer, he works hard and throws all the seeds and how you say, pflügt das Land, and all this. He loses so much Dünger. What is Dünger in English? Fertilizer. So much fertilizer, so much attention. And then finally he goes and reaps, how you say, ante, what is that?
Harvest.
There's a harvest. He takes care of the harvest. We're making so much effort. So many things that we do to attract, to preach, to present Krishna consciousness properly to people outside. That's when somebody comes, we have to take care. We have to care about them, of these fruit. Bin ein bisschen abgewichen von deiner Frage hier. Yeah. This is one of the qualities of a devotee also, compassion. Compassion. He's compassionate. He wants to give the best. He wants to serve. He wants to help. He wants to educate the conditioned souls. Because we know that this only solution to all the miseries and all the suffering of people is a lack of Krishna consciousness. Like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati said, the only thing that's lacking is Krishna consciousness. Everything else is there. Of course, mismanaged. It's mismanaged. Not managed properly, in the proper way. The only thing that is missing is Krishna consciousness. They will never experience what happiness is, what knowledge is, what eternal life is, if they don't get in touch with Krishna consciousness. And that is our responsibility, to take care. Guide them properly. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Or was it too heavy?
No, it's very good. It's necessary.
I noticed that you started taking care. It was very nice. Thank you very much. Like Krishna says, in Bhagavad Gita, there's no devotee more dear to him than the person who teaches. Preaches to his devotees. And ultimately they're all devotees, but they don't know. That's why they're suffering so much. And Krishna says, and there's nobody now and nobody in the future who's more dear to me than the person who preaches to my devotees. Who brings back all these lost sons and daughters, to the Father. That's what it is. I don't know. Habe ich deine Frage beantwortet? Yeah. Anything else? Somebody wants to? Yeah, bitte.
You were mentioning that all these associates that we have, especially
Sorry.
all these people that we are associating with in our lifetime, and especially the ones we are closely associating with, especially when somebody has a family, it's all like a very temporary affair, and it's not really so relevant because the only eternal friend is Krishna. So my question here is, I think I asked this before, but I don't remember the answer so much, and I didn't ask you. So it's about, is there any chance or likeliness that the devotees that we associate with now, that also in the spiritual world we can associate with them, or is it not really possible?
Well, go there and find out.
I mean, in some sense,
I heard once that in relation to Srila Prabhupada, that many of Prabhupada's disciples, when Prabhupada left, they wanted to, they had the desire to again be with Srila Prabhupada after they left their body in some other place where Prabhupada would be in preaching. Yeah. They wanted to assist Prabhupada further. The good thing in the spiritual world, everyone is dear to us in the spiritual world. Not like here, we have enemies and friends and like that. There's spiritual world means, Vaikuntha means, first of all it means there's no anxiety. Yeah. But spiritual world means everything is Krishna centered. There's nothing, I only know in Spanish, contra. What is it? Against. No? Yeah, there's nothing against. There's no envy. There's no discrimination. There's no hate like that and all these things. It's all harmonious. Because everyone loves Krishna. Krishna is the center. And also there's no duality. There's no enemy and friend, there's no cold or heat, there's no light or darkness like that. There's no poor and rich, all of that. These dualities don't exist in the spiritual world. What do you think?
Well, it's just digesting what you said, because it seems like there would be different times of the day, right?
Mm.
But then when we think of duality materially, we're thinking that we are going to have some accepting of one thing and rejecting of another thing.
Yeah.
And we will maybe also make a distinction based upon a person's, quality in terms of dualities, and therefore there's some prejudice going on.
Mm.
So I was just getting a deeper understanding of what you said.
Mm.
That's what I was thinking. I believe in what you're saying.
Mm.
Sometimes you just have to think about it.
And everything related to Krishna. And therefore it's absolutely good. In the material world there's so many degradations, how do you say? Not degradation.
Judgments or?
Yeah, judgments and of this. It's good and bad and beautiful and ugly and strong and weak, and rich and poor and all that. That doesn't exist there. Nobody cares about all these things. They're just interested in loving Krishna. And because everything is connected to Krishna, you also love everything else also, because it's connected to Krishna. Thanks du. Ich bin noch bei deiner Frage, ne? Entschuldige.
So, I mean, if I got it right, I think you were saying that because everybody is your friend there and it's all about Krishna,
Yeah.
it's not so important that we are together with devotees, that we are associating with law, because everybody will be our friend.
In the material world, it says, when you lose something, you appreciate it more. We have seen many times. You know, some devotee has left his body. A devotee has left his body. And he was not very, how you say, farbenfroh. Ich weiß nicht, in Deutsch sagen.
Appreciated maybe?
No, like
Peasant or popular?
well, popular. But when they leave, all of a sudden, people start speaking about that person and realize, wow, no, what a pain that he has left or she has left. Yeah. You appreciate something more when you lose it, it says. Yeah. Like, for example, sometimes I meet devotees I know for many, many years. And then they say, Maharaj, the best time was when I was a brahmachari and I went out and booked this devotion.
Haribol!
Sankirtan was the best time in my life. No, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember.
Why was it? Because it was intense, very intense devotional service. The more intense devotional service is, the more we advance in Krishna consciousness. If you just do a little and the rest of the time your mind is just flying everywhere, you're spaced out, like we say, it's not the same. That's, for example, normally in the temples where they have very developed deity worship, for example. You know, the deity worship requires so much attention and so many details and so many people have to be there to... You know? And we can see, when the pujaris are advancing, they become very, very fine persons, how you say, very refined persons, and I remember I was a pujari once for some time. It was because the pujari felt ill, and I had to be the pujari, and I started doing pujari to the deities, and serving the deities, and sometimes I had to go out to buy something for the deities, And when I went out, I couldn't believe, wow, what is this? The way people looked and how they, dealt with each other. And I noticed how purifying the deity worship was. You understand? Yeah. And when you're always with the devotees, you notice the difference between material life and spiritual life very strongly, more and more. Just like sometimes a devotee becomes weak and leaves ISKCON or goes somewhere else, and that, but I can never forget. And sooner or later, they come back because they never found something better than this, isn't it? I mean, I never left, but others told me. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki